Welcome back to Aether Survival. Today we're going to be doing a Blundergat walkthrough on Paradox Junction, as well as the Sundergat upgrade. This is my beginning weapon. Nothing special about it, just trying to get gold on it. Let's begin. As well as going through with the Blundergat and Sundergat walkthrough, we're also going to be talking about how in my basic training for the military, my bay started a company-wide fight club. And it's really not as hard as you think. Whenever I get into the story, you'll realize that it's actually pretty easy. It just depends on the type of people that you have in your bay. And then I'll talk about some other fights that also happened in my bay, not in Fight Club. Okay, real quick, I'm gonna pop gift card.
Where I come
just keep
from,
me
you
alive a little
steal
easier.
man's slaves.
Armor
You
getting.
pay the fucking price. Now you got all the time in the
So I'm gonna
world to
start with
regret
getting
what you done.
the truck keys, and then we'll begin on our Blundergat kit. You gotta see these little pores on the wall. One of them will be making like a humming noise, and you'll see whenever we get to it.
Did you see how quickly they fell over?
Let's check this side. The last couple of runs it has been this one. So yeah, it's this one again. You can hear that little humming noise. So you'll need to kill like 8 to 10 zombies around it. Somewhere around there. And eventually, this will drop the barrel for the Blundergat. I'm gonna kill our 8 zombies really quickly. And while we do that, we're actually gonna begin the story. So, basically, in a bay, you have, I want to say, 40 to 50 people per bay, depending on the size of the basic training. My basic training had around 250 people, which I know people that have had 270, 280. But in my bay, I had a lot of people that used to do wrestling or jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai or boxing, some type of fighting sport before they joined the military. And while you're in basic training, all of your emotions are kind of under attack, including like getting annoyed and aggravated with all of your bay mates, because you have to live with 40 to 50 people, and not a lot of people are used to that. So people do get very aggravated, and there's arguments and other types of fights.
It would be too much to hold for
No
a
break in the story.
handkerchief.
There's the barrel.
Only there was some meathead who could love this
Second
stuff.
part, or the rest of it,
Oh,
is actually you kind of have to wait until you hit that bloodhound phase, or the toxic dog phase, where you go into the past. But you have to do a little bit of prep. You have to find one of the mannequins like this that is making that hissing noise too. And once I found that one, I usually go around. I'll go get the part that's needed for it, actually. So you'll come into... Oh, well, I'm in the wrong house. You'll go into yellow house over here. You'll go upstairs, and then on this desk there's a vial that you can pick up.
It could be bad.
Just use your interact
Much
button.
like intimacy.
For Xbox, you just hold X on it. And then in greenhouse, you can go to the sink, do your
Even the
interact
wrist.
button again,
I really should have asked Dempsey to assist.
and then press it again, and you'll get the acid. So, back to the story. Your emotions are kind of everywhere, so you're going to be getting very aggravated with these people. And in the beginning of our basic training, we had like maybe 4 to 5 people in the center of the bay after lights out, and they wrestle around a little bit, just to do something that's familiar, you know. Which eventually led to tournaments, like wrestling tournaments or jiu-jitsu tournaments with submissions, which probably isn't a good idea, especially with 50 grown men alone in a bay with no supervision, deciding that everybody should just fight with potentially like knocking each other out and stuff. So there's about 4 or 5 of them at first, and then it keeps growing and growing and growing until we have a crowd and we have a tournament set up and all the works. Another breaking news story.
Be grateful. I could
plan
have
on
shot you
doing
somewhere
this?
else.
You also have to find green goo on the wall. Luckily, this is the one that I found, and it is, you can hear it humming like that too. Which, in the past, we're going to have to blow that up with a type of grenade, and it will make a hole in the wall so that whenever you come back to the future, which is this mode, you can come and pick up the stock.
Man in black. I think I've figured it
Back
out.
to the story.
Nuclear devastation up close.
It kept growing and growing and growing, and we had like a full audience, like half of our bay was getting involved into it, and word got out to the other bays, which they would start coming into our bay and wanting to either participate or even just watch. And with fight clubs, the usual things came along with it. Betting and gambling, you know, all that stuff, which I wouldn't say to do because I think that's stupid anyways, but obviously we didn't have money in basic training, so what we would do instead was take peanut butter packs from the commissary or the cafeteria, and we would just trade that and bet with those, which it is contraband because technically you're not allowed to have any food in the bay as well. So a couple of weeks go by and we keep doing these tournaments and people keep betting on them, and it got to a point eventually where people would start doing tournaments of slap boxing, which is basically instead of punches you're throwing slaps at each other. And in the beginning it started out as no face, just body slaps, which a bunch of unsupervised men, it eventually turned into face slaps as well. So when people start showing up in formations with bruises on their faces or being extremely tired from the tournament going too late into the fucking night and then having to wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning. So the drill sergeant started catching on, and there was a few people that would go and just rat on everybody to the drill sergeants, and we knew those exact people. So if they ever came in, we just immediately had to stop the match, or they would go and tell. And since it got bigger, we had to start putting lookouts on the doors, watching for drill sergeants, and or those other guys that would just go and tell on him. So people started getting bruises or red patches on their faces, and in PTs you're wearing short sleeves so you could see their legs and their arms, and people had like what looked like scuffle marks on their arms and stuff. So it started to become obvious, and for some reason the people that were doing it didn't care. They just kept doing fight club. Luckily it never got to the point where people started throwing punches, because then it would have been way too obvious and everybody in the bay would have gotten in trouble.
These kinder certainly make a fun addition to our merry band. If we find a clown, I can host
2 weeks of doing the normal fight club stuff and the slap boxing stuff, instead of just being in one bay, it turned into being in 2 to 3 bays. So then every single bay would be doing the fight club, and then by the end of that tournament, all the winners would come to the same bay and do like the winner's bracket of the tournament. And by this point, I don't know how we didn't get caught, because that's like 200 fucking people all in this in one time, which is kind of crazy to me that drill sergeants didn't catch on. Or maybe they did and they just didn't care. But little pause in the story. Gotta go do all the things. Okay, so there's Yellow House. This one was humming, so I'm gonna place the acid on her. And then, oh wait, the black goo was also in this garage, so I'm gonna blow it up. And then also in the Yellow House, there will be a bottle of sealant over here on this cabinet right there. And you can press your interact button and it'll pick it up. So back to it. Everybody's bays started doing this, and the winners tournament back in my day would, this is how you get stuck. Sorry, a little break in the story. This is the trigger, or the hammer,
will have to explore,
and then we have all the parts for the Blundergat. So you gotta melee this.
Is its own reward. I prefer.
While I wait to kill all these zombies, let's just go back to the story. Everybody was doing it. Don't know how our drill sergeants did figure this out earlier, but the tournament, the big winners bracket tournament, was over the day after the winners bracket tournament. So this is the day after we have probably 120 people in the same bay watching this fight on a Sunday. So this Monday comes around, and at the end of the day, everybody's ready to go to bed, because we didn't just constantly do Fight Club. We'd have a little bit of break in between it. So this is almost towards the end of basic training, and we thought we were going to get away with it. But on Monday, at the very end of the day, it's like 9 o'clock, and drill sergeants are coming around doing their checks, making sure everybody is in their correct bays, and not like hurt or anything, which is another reason why I don't know how they didn't figure this out. Like, I thought it would have been pretty obvious that people were injured in some way or some fashion.
I don't
But,
like guns.
oh well. The drill sergeant walks in like he normally does, but this time he doesn't go to the very front of the line and make us count to make sure that everybody's there. Instead, he starts slowly and ominously walking around the bay as if he knows something that we don't. And we all immediately already knew what he was talking about. So the kid that started the Fight Club, he walks up to that specific kid and he goes, "I heard y'all been doing something that you're not supposed to." And he goes, "What's the #1 rule of Fight Club?" And if you guys haven't seen the movie, the #1 rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about the Fight Club. And the kid that started it all goes, "You don't talk about Fight Club." So he basically just told the drill sergeant that he started it and he knew everything about it. So the hour after that happened, for the next hour, we were just getting smoked non-stop. It was the worst that it's ever been. It was like, drill sergeants are creative. They come up with the most wild shit, but it fucking sucks every single time. I don't know how they come up with it, but it always fucking sucks too. But they come up with this, and we're just doing the weirdest stuff. Almost all the drill sergeants, there's like up to 12, I think, total. Almost all the drill sergeants are in there fucking smoking the dog shit out of all of us, because he knows that our base started it. Somebody went and told him. But at the end of it, our drill sergeant comes up to the kid again, and he goes, what you used to do, as in like fighting. And the kid just said jiu-jitsu and that's all he did. And he gave the kid a fist bump as if like, good job, what you did was cool. Which I thought was pretty sick, because even though the drill sergeant had to punish us, he still thought that was cool. But that's my little Fight Club story. All that's left for the Sundergat is we gotta wait for a fire tornado to spawn in the backyards of the houses,
Not even my little screwdriver.
or by this area over here that usually has the perk machine. It'll spawn right here too. So while we wait for those tornado zombies to spawn in, let's talk about some of the actual bare knuckle fist fights that happen in the bay due to people being completely annoyed and done with each other. So the first one that I saw, it was between this really fucking short guy and I want to say country bumpkin, but he was definitely like a redneck, but you know, like he was from the country, he had the accent, he was corn-fed, he was a bigger, not tall, but he was just a little chunkier, you know. So the country bumpkin was probably 5'10", and he was like 230, 240, but it wasn't really muscle, it was just, he was just chunky. And then the other guy, he was maybe 5'4" and like 120 pounds soaking wet. So we had a rule whenever people wanted to fight, and we came up with it during this first fight. And it was, you have 60 seconds just to fight all out. 60 seconds, that's all. And you gotta go to the bathroom in this specific corner that was right next to the janitor's closet that had all the cleaning supplies. So you're like hidden away from everybody. And then we had one person count into 60. And we had one person watching the door to where the drill sergeant could come in just in case they came in during the fight. And this is like the second week of basic, so pretty early on, but people just had short tempers, because they was asleep.
I wish I knew you all by name.
You're getting yelled at constantly. You're just not having a fun time right now, because the first 2 weeks are also some of the hardest, what we call the hell weeks, right? So these people are tired of each other. They go start fighting, and of course bodies only, because we don't want nobody getting in trouble over some dumb shit. These, as you can probably imagine, the small guy gets completely destroyed by the big old country bumpkin. I mean, he had over 100 pounds on him and only like 6 fucking feet. There's the tornado zombie, by the way. That's the one that we need to get to bring over here to get the Sundergat. But he gets absolutely destroyed in 30 seconds. The short guy gives up. And then that day forward, he just wanted to go home. He did not want to be there anymore. He was having a miserable time after he got beat up by this dude. But we all made him stay in, and he eventually graduated basic training. The second fight happened between this tall guy and tall and buff guy. He's probably like 6'1", and he was 240 lean, like he was buff, big buff guy. And the other guy was probably 5'9", 5'10" again, but he was like 160 pounds and flabby, 180 pounds flabby. But you could tell that this guy did not give a flying fuck. He would scrap with anybody. He did not care. So they're yelling at each other across the bay, back and forth, and this has been happening for like the last 3 days. So we know that something is gonna happen. It just hasn't happened yet. We know something's gonna happen. It's just an inevitability, you know. Little pause. I gotta walk close to him. He'll fall out of his tornado and start chasing you, but it will summon zombies. And the more zombies that are close to him, the more he'll lose health. So you gotta make sure that he doesn't have zombies close to him, or else he will lose his health and not make it to the bus. And you just want to kill him in this general area. It doesn't have to be directly next to that one. It just has to be like at least touching the bus. I think. I believe. Back to the story. They're yelling back at each other back and forth non-stop, and it's been happening 3 days now. We know something's gonna go down. We just can't pinpoint it. We're all just waiting for this to happen because we know it's gonna be sometime soon.
At least it better be.
So eventually, what happens is the bigger guy, I'm just naming him L. He starts chirping, and the smaller guy, we'll call him R. He goes, "Well, I don't fucking care. We can go to the bathroom right now," which would mean obviously that they're gonna start fighting because he did not give a fuck. And L eventually said, "You know what? Fuck it. Let's go to the bathroom." You know. And I'm the closest one to the bathroom, so I get in there first as everybody else follows. So that means I get to be the counting guy, so I get to stand right next to them and watch them fight. R and L started this fight, and we all knew it was going to be pretty good because R has the chocolate shit and backing his shit up every single time somebody tries to do something, but the other guy usually always backs down, which could mean that R just knew how to talk and not really know how to fight. But this specific time, we gotta figure it out. If the basic scenario was true or not. So they get to the bathroom and they just start duking. They did not give a fuck about the face shots, about the body shots, about any type of shots, knees, kicks. They did not give a fuck. They just started throwing. And I'm counting, and L just starts trying to pick him up and slam R onto the ground. And R wasn't gonna take that shit. He did not give a fuck. So right whenever, every single time, L would pick him up, or try to pick him up, L would just throw a straight knee straight into his crotch. And it happened like 3 or 4 times. And I'm not gonna lie, I definitely lengthened those seconds because I liked watching this fight and I wanted to see it keep going. But L is complaining, he keeps kneeing me here, he keeps kneeing me there. And then, I mean, if it was me, I would have done the same thing. This dude was huge. I would have done the same thing, anything I needed to win, you know? But fight's over. They both got bruises on their faces, and we know that they're gonna get caught by the drill sergeants. So nobody talked about it. You know, surprisingly, nobody told the drill sergeants. Insanely surprisingly, nobody told the drill sergeants. They had bruises on their face. They were fucking had scrapes on their knuckles and shit. Nobody told the drill sergeants. They get done fighting. Go back to being normal. L comes over to R after the fight, and they made up. Plain and simple. They just needed to nuke it out a couple fucking seconds, and everything went back to normal. The last fight I saw was from this transfer that actually came because he failed his first basic training, so they were going to give him a second chance with ours. So he started like 8 weeks late, 6 weeks late, something like that. Can't remember. But he joined our basic training late, and dropping frames. He's on the basic training late, and
and
he was super cocky. But we were like, you failed your first basic training. Like, why are you so cocky? He was just so cocky and felt like he was better than everybody, you know? And the same guy, R, did not like that. He did not care what this guy had seen or what he'd been through or what he did in his last company or nothing. He did not care. So they start chirping again, and they're also on opposite sides because this guy is right next to L in the bay. So Lord knows what they were talking about in their corner. R was right next to me. And they're chirping again. We know some stuff is gonna go down. But this didn't take as long. It was still like the same amount of time, or not the same amount of time. This one didn't take 3-4 days. This one took like an hour of talking. I can't even tell you how bad this new guy got his ass beat because he wanted to act all tough instead of just come in and do the right things. But this new guy came in acting all tough and left quiet as a mouse because R just beat the hell out of him. I kind of felt bad for the guy, but what are you gonna do? You can't just control their mouth, you know? Fortunately, those are all the fight stories I got. But this next tornado should be here soon. Should spawn in either this round or next round. Oh, this round. Perfect. So with this tornado, it's a total of 3 tornadoes that you need. But the last 2 are just regular tortured zombies. But this specific tornado is going... It's a tortured zombie in that picture. But whenever you walk up to it, it turns into the tortured boss in this map. I forget the name of it. But it turns into a tortured one of those. I'll say it whenever I see it, when I get him out of the tornado. So it's probably smarter to have the Blundergat Pack-a-Punch. I'd say it makes it a lot easier, for sure. So let's go do that real quick. Knock him out of the tornado, it turns into a tortured mimic that's going to be running at you. So you gotta turn around and run for this spot right here. So he's going to come up close, jump up here. You just gotta kill him right next to him, okay? You see it's all glowing. That's all 3 of them complete. You gotta go into the past. And there it is. Place it in the workbench. And wait for your portal to open back up. Go back through the portal. You can melee it. And then you got your Blundergat. There it is. Super simple and easy. Alright guys, well, thanks for watching my Blunder and Sundergat walkthrough and listening to me talking about my basic training stories. If you guys like the commentary, I'd love some feedback on it, or what other topics or questions you have about the military that I can talk about in my next video. Would be greatly appreciated. If you guys have any ideas for what I should do for the next videos, or zombie challenges like pistols, you know, pack-a-punch, certain rounds, you know, let me know. Other than that, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and enjoy the rest of your day.